We are back with another Wuthering Waves video. We're literally playing Wuthering Waves, and I wanted to go over what, listen, I'm just going to be honest with you. As the #2 core bot in the community, I'm just going to come out and say it. I think this is the best gacha patch I've ever played. Okay. I want to give you my genuine, raw, honest thoughts, and I'm going to be as objective as I possibly can, taking out any biases, because there are things about this that I didn't like, because there are things in this patch that I was a little disappointed about, but the overwhelming majority was so positive that I'm just going to be honest with you. I have faith that any of my gripes are going to be addressed. I really do. They're listening, and it's so clear they're listening to player feedback to the point where I don't mind, let's say, necessarily waiting another patch for maybe some sort of echo change, right? Let's dive into this. I've beaten all the story. I've done a bunch of exploration. I have completed all the holograms.
What?
I'm actually now an Eastern CC. You know, I pretty much did all the content here, right? I got Carlotta, I built her, cleared TOA with her. So let's break this down. There's a Gacha Smack tweet that I want to bring up that I think perfectly encapsulates at least how I'm feeling about this update. And I'm going to break down more, but I just think it's really important to share something like this because I think this is very accurate. Wuthering Waves 2.0 exceeded every single expectation I had in the first 7 hours of playing. I actually felt like I was playing the game for the first time again, which is a very difficult thing to achieve with gacha games, yet somehow they managed to do it. The world is so different in a positive way. There's so many different game mechanics. This just feels unique. It feels like I'm playing the game again. I simply couldn't have worded any better than Gacha Smack. So I just wanted to, I mean, like, take a look, guys. Like, this is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful, right? So just keep that in mind. So I'm gonna break down the story first. This will be spoiler free. The story, I think, pretty much eclipses everything in 1.0, except maybe the final hour of Act 6. But I think it hasn't finished that yet because we have not actually had the conclusion to Rinascita, which I think will be just as epic, if not better, right? They've taken all the feedback, they've taken all the criticism, and they've done a great job in incorporating into the story. The VAs, the voice acting, bro, Zany's voice acting.
We've been expecting you. Welcome to Averardo Bank, sir.
I'm in love with you. The VA is great. The music is great. The character interactions feel real, legitimate. One of the, I think, the big criticisms that a lot of people had is that pretty much none of these characters really felt important in the sense of, like, they never interact with each other. They never build any type of relationships. There's never anything really going on there. I feel like they've addressed that. And I truly believe that the way they're going with their storytelling, if they continue to go down this route, their stories will progressively just get better and better and better. One thing that helps so much is the pacing. In total, it took about 6 hours and 30 minutes. I skipped a couple like extra dialogue options. You know how like maybe you like can do 3 things before you move on to something else. I skipped those personally. So maybe it might take you 7 hours if you click every single dialogue option, but 7 hours over 3 acts, and this isn't the finale yet, I don't think is bad at all, especially when they have such a unique way of telling the story. It's not just everyone standing there in an idle position. Q position 1 when you're talking like this, Q position 2, like, no, like there's genuine depth to how they actually explain the story. You know, they do multiple different things that they've done before previously. For example, the Scar, right? When you are first meeting Scar back in the beta or even in the beginning of the game, you know, they do the little cinematics. This is not a leak. They've showed this in the trailer. You are running across walls, like they're making you do the quick time events, which are pretty sick. I love quick time events. And similar to how in Shorekeepers, you're running across the train. Like, it's just the way they convey this story and they think outside the box is what I really enjoy. Also, these new echoes help quite a bit. The new echoes feel very important, which I will get to completely separately as why I love those. It just feels very well-rounded to the point where I feel like it's still a gacha story. Don't get it twisted. It is still a gacha story, but it is something that I can sit there and genuinely just enjoy and not feel bored. I will say, in Act 3, it was nuclear cinema, but there was a point in Act 3 where that I did think they went a little bit of the Genshin route, and about 40-ish minutes of a segment I felt like could have been summed up in 10 minutes, and I was pretty bored during that point. But I am not going to let that 40 minutes ruin the whole experience, and especially that act, which was genuinely amazing. So You know, although I didn't necessarily enjoy that portion of it, it is what it is. So story, great. Also, again, the world is just so beautiful and vibrant and different. I think what really helps also bring the story up another level, just you're in this whole different region that is insane, boys. It's insane, right? So story is great. Story itself is probably like a 7.58, but the way they do the storytelling brings it to a 9.5, maybe 10. Good, let's go directly into Carlotta first, because at the end of the day, a lot of people are joining and they're playing the game. They want to, should I roll for Carlotta, right? Carlotta is easily a T0 unit, and just for you, I'm going to do a cheeky single pull and get a S1 Carlotta, just because I am built different. Nope. Carlotta is amazing. I have nothing but positive things to say about Carlotta and my experience with playing Carlotta. She is a T0 unit. I put out a completely different guide breaking down her kit, but she is free-to-play friendly, and she does have her free-to-play option of running the static mist, right? So you can get this weapon, which provides crit rate through free means, and Yang Yang is probably her best in slot or second to best in slot free support. So realistically, she is very solid. The banner systems as a whole here, it's not too bad either, because if you like Carlotta and if you plan on whaling, you can get Jeja, and Jeja will bring up her damage substantially. That is Carlotta's best in slot, you know, support, but it's not necessarily required. And that's what I like about this banner. It is not necessarily required to get Gigi. You are not being forced to pull both of these characters. Actually not being forced to pull anything, because if you do have two really solid DPSs, you don't necessarily need Carlotta. Will your life be a little bit easier, let's say fighting the new fallacy? For sure, it will definitely be a lot easier, but it is not needed. Carlotta is great as a character, and also, I mean, guys, come on. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's little as hell. That's little as hell. The other really important thing I wanted to get to is quality of life. So there are tons of quality of life, especially via means of Echeos, right? So I've put out multiple videos already showcasing all of the new Sonata sets and exactly who they could be working for, their best in slots, you know. So if we go here to Databank real quick and I bring up these sets, we got 5 new Sonata effects, right? And so all of them do something completely different. But the good thing about these is that some of these sets are universal and some of them are tailored to specific characters like Carlotta, but that is okay. The good thing about getting these new set effects is that they actually are providing upgrades to the current meta units. So let's say, for example, your coordinated attacker, because there isn't a set that increases coordinated attack damage, right? You're going to increase Spectral Frazzle, which is pretty much like damage over time. There's so many different unique play styles that are introduced with these new Sonata set compositions that I really like, and it allows you to, if you wanted to, you can build these new sets. You don't have to, let's say, replace your Moonlit set with the new on your coordinated attacker, whether it's Jeja, for example. You don't have to replace it with the new set, but you have that option if you want to increase her personal damage and just kind of increase your damage up a little bit more. So the fact that that's even an option is very nice, right? And then diving a little bit further into Echoes, we have Nightmare Echoes. So as opposed to, let's say, for example, having to, you know, hit with Inferno Rider 3 times to activate a buff, they've changed it. You can actually go to a tacit Discord for the specific old Echo that you want to get, and if you actually complete it and fight the Echo, you can equip it and you will have the buff passively. So you do not need to actually do anything in order to equip this buff. It says to get this buff. It says equipping this Echo in the main slot grants fusion damage bonus and resonance skill damage bonus. So these Nightmare Echoes, not only do they look shiny as hell, they're dripped out their mind, but you don't need to go through the sequence of using their actions, when realistically sometimes that could be very frustrating because of the fact that these old Echoes take way too much time. Also, since these new Nightmare Echoes are giving buffs to a lot of units. Cheng-Li's getting a buff, Zheng Liao's getting a buff, more units are going to be getting buffs, I'm sure, once we do more testing, but it is just overall a net positive. So if you want to increase your Cheng-Li damage, if you want to increase your old DPS damages, and you're willing to farm, this is an option. It's not mandatory, but it is an option, and some of these Echoes cater to the older DPSs a lot more, right? even with the new Echoes. So it just does the same thing. Equipping this Echo in the main slot increases the damage of the coordinated attack. The days of activating my Echo and sitting there and waiting are gone. I don't need to sit there and try to activate my Echo and hit every single shot anymore. You could activate it for more damage, but it is not required. And this is what I'm talking about by them being the most responsive dev team right next to Zenless Zone Zero. These guys are killing it at Koro Games, boys. It's just a net positive. It is a net positive. These are great changes. Now, the one thing I wish they would have changed and kind of updated a bit more is the Echo XP. That problem is not really solved at the moment. I was told by my chat initially, if you reach Databank 24, that Echoes will be dropping at level 5 for you automatically, just so that way you can start foddering them. That is not the case yet, but I have faith that they're going to listen. Please don't prove me wrong. But yeah, Echo XP is still rough, man. And it does still feel bad running Tacit Discords and getting these 3-cost Echoes. Let's say, for example, a Glacio set, and I'm getting fusion damage. It just feels like a waste of resin. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of resin. So that ecosystem, it's still there, and it is a little bit of a negative for me. I'm not going to let it ruin my experience with the patch. But yeah, that I still think is a massive L that I wish they would have addressed, and I hope they do sooner than later, because it's just not a good feeling playing your game and not being able to fodder this if it's absolutely dog shit, right? So I still stand by that. I think they need to fix that as soon as possible. It would really, really help the game and the quality of life substantially. Moving on to the events, we have the Tales of the Isles. I like this event quite a bit. Pretty much, you just get more rewards for exploring. So they're over here telling you, hey, go explore this area, and you get tons and tons and tons of rewards, and they're just incentivizing you to do more exploration. And with more exploration actually comes longer flight time, so it realistically is going to give you a net positive. They're saying, hey, please explore the game so you can enjoy the mechanics a lot more, and I see nothing wrong with that. You get tons and tons and tons of stuff. So the events are still really, really good here. This is a very strong event that we have going on here. So I haven't done this event yet. I don't know if this is I believe this is the photo event. I'm personally not a big fan of this, but it's here for you in case you want to run it. Pincer Maneuver, I think, is a bad event. I don't like Pincer Maneuver. I will say this. I think Pincer Maneuver is a ghetto version of what is called Pure Fiction. I don't think it really fits the Wuthering Waves. I just don't think it fits Wuthering Waves. I'm not gonna lie to you. The enemies just kind of stand there. It's just like kind of a straight up DPS check. It's just mindlessly doing nothing. I don't like it. It's not my favorite event. It's here. You get rewards out of it. It is what it is. Obviously, you get your claimable, your claimable logins. The Jinshi Skin is easily the best $30 skin you can spend if it's not at League of Legends. It changes every single animation as well as her sword. Listen, if you like Jinshi is still a viable meta unit, and this skin is top tier and it's beautiful as hell. If you like Jinshi, do not be skeptical to buy this, okay? Just because Carlotta released and Camilla released does not mean Jinshi is not valid, and the price point is not too bad. It is on sale right now. So again, League of Legends-esque, where they're just making everything change, I'm 100% okay with paying $25 to $30 to get a skin that changes every single animation. 100% fine with that. Skin is beautiful. I have not done Carlotta's personal story quest yet, so I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I'm not gonna guess this up. I don't know if it's good or not. I really don't, but it is there, obviously. And then you got the normal stuff again, the new holograms that I've completed both of these. As a Western content creator, I completed both of these holograms. That's my boy Rednew for making a banger tweet about this, because Rexland's goofy as hell. Again, Fallacy, super free. If you have Carlotta, super free. The other hologram is really okay. The only annoying thing about both of them is that they one-shot you, so you just have to be patient. You can't really forward your way through these in the sense of like, unless you're C6, right? I mean, if you're C6, you kill everything one shot, whatever. But you do have to be a little bit more strategic in the way you're fighting, but it's not the hardest thing in the world. If you want my honest opinion, I still think Inferno Rider is harder. I can easily see myself and other people doing this hologram with weird team compositions and solos. I can't solo Inferno Rider. I just can't. Maybe it's a skill issue. That is hard. That if he would have said Eastern CC's had a problem with Inferno, I would have said yeah. But these holograms aren't that bad, but they're fun to fight. They are fun to fight, and they do have like yeah, so I like them. I like them for sure. And honestly, man, just the world, guys, like the world just looks and feels so awesome. They have this little mechanic out here in the wild, which I like. I think that's really dope, that I can kind of sit there and just run around. I think I ran past like 2 chests. You know, oh my god, that's a big chest. Okay, all right, I got baited. All right, I'm ending the video. I'm ending the video. So the one thing I want to address while we're just kind of yapping here, again, is this flying, man. The flying is overall great. It feels smooth. The one annoying thing about the flying is that if you are at 60 FPS, it does handle a lot better as opposed to being 120 FPS. So if you are on the computer, just keep that in mind. Your flying experience will be better if you bring the FPS down to 60. Obviously, some sort of bug that I think they'll address eventually. But just soaring through the sky and looking how beautiful just everything is here, it is sick, man. I mean, like, this is just awesome. The fact that we have this as an option to even do this. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a massive fan of this. I think this is great. I really do. But the flying, I think, is very accessible. You simply just have to do the story to unlock access to it. And as I said previously, the more you explore, the more you will be able to just get flying stamina. And it's pretty simple. You know, it's nothing too crazy. Now, the one thing is you do not gain flying stamina while you're in the air. I'm sitting here flying. I mean, I'm sitting here gliding. I'm not getting flying XP. But if I go down, I could reset. And you see it regains pretty much right there. So I also apparently went into some boss fight or something random. Quick event, but yep. And yeah, it's just kind of here, man. It's really sick. It's a great mode of transportation. I got nothing bad to say about this. I'm going back to the big screen. Look at my beautiful face. This is really sick. The one amazing thing I actually really like about this, and that I will say it has a massive one-up on Natlin, is very simple. There are Saurians, like Echeos in here, where let's say, for example, you go up to a bridge, and you're like, well, I can't cross this bridge. They will give you the option to literally just click F in order to go over the bridge. And so why is that good? Why is that good, and why is that better than, let's say, Saurians and Natlin? Because they are not region locked. I don't have to think about them. They are simply there. When the time is right, when I need to activate an Echo to traverse and make life easier, it is simply right in front of you. So maybe you might say, well, Ethan, I can't run around with that Echo. Sure, you might not be able to run around with an Echo, but goddamn it, I could fly. And if I could fly, I think I would rather fly than run around. I'd rather fly with my characters than run around with an annoying Echo. You know, I mean, you know, this is free. Chaska costs $340. I think it's pretty simple. I have a clear winner in my eyes. So, you know, the world is beautiful. The exploration is so much fun because of this function, and the fact that it makes it just so much easier. And the verticality of the land does not matter. So it's really not a problem. So yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that Wuthering Waves is on the path to being the most enjoyable gacha game for me personally. It already is the most enjoyable gacha game. They've made me fall in love with playing this video game again. Not that I didn't enjoy playing it before, because I did, but it got really boring and it got really repetitive, just like all gacha games. And I'm sure eventually it will get boring and repetitive again, because that's what happens. Like, these gacha games are not supposed to be played for 50 hours, you know, a week. But there's so much to do and so many unique things that I think it's great. So again, if my only gripes are that sometimes the story could be a little dull, but it didn't last too long, and the Echo XP needs to be changed, and I wish we did get better endgame. I mean, Echo XP is going to be addressed. Overall story was still solid, and endgame, it just probably never going to happen. So that's a me issue. Rinascita was amazing. Let me know what you think. I love you. Mwah. I'll see you in the next one.
It's calling my name. So come on, baby, let's stop playing.